what people often forget is that we think about water crises just in the terms of running out of water, but it has so many other impacts around. It's not just about droughts, it's about flooding, it's about emerging pollutants, it's about habitat degradation. There's so many sort of other aspects to the water crisis than just running out of water.
So what are the people in charge of our water doing to alleviate those problems about water stress, water security?
So all around the world, this is a common issue. There isn't a single utility who doesn't think about how they can manage their water resources better. And there's lots of things where people are looking at doing water meters and managing their water consumption better. Ultimately, it comes down to the public being engaged in the problem. People forget, for example, that for every piece of toast you produce, you eat 500 litres of water, and in US gallons, that's about 130 US gallons of water goes into generating a single piece of toast, and 25,000 litres for a microchip. And so actually what we've really got to do to manage the water resources is make sure that the public are aware of how much water is used in their everyday products.
I know when I lived in the Middle East, I found in one country in particular, petrol was cheaper than water, which is quite remarkable, and it was bottled water as well. But I wonder, I mean, that's because of desalination, I suspect, but which is expensive. Is technology keeping up with water stress?
So there's some amazing opportunities in water. And you refer to desalination as being expensive, and you're absolutely right. You're squeezing clean water out of salty water is an incredibly energy-intensive thing to do. And typically people imagine water comes from, you either take it from a lake or a reservoir, or you dig a hole in the ground and you take the water out of a well, or you use desalination. There is a fourth way, which is now gaining real traction, and that is called atmospheric water generation. It's actually where you suck the water straight out of the air. And there are a number of companies, Sky H2O and Rainmaker, which have now developed credible solutions for doing that. And they're much more environmental, they use less energy, and they particularly don't create this nasty brine that you create when you do desalination. So they've got all sorts of extra benefits.
In Britain, this is a European show, but in Britain, I know as soon as there are weeks and weeks and weeks of rain, within a couple of months, it'll be May or June, and there'll be hosepipe bans. So that's about water management, isn't it? So, and you manage the utility. Did you find you had to take a lot of steps to improve water management?
Yeah, so the bit that gets more complicated with climate change is we're getting shorter, sharper bursts of rain. So the rain will fall out of the skies, hits the tarmac and the roads, and then it goes straight into the sewer system and flushes out into the seas within probably 24 hours. And if we haven't got reservoirs where you can capture that water and store it, once it's sort of made it into the rivers, you've lost it, which is why there's lots of talk about building new reservoirs and new storage patterns. Because what we used to have was rain that would trickle down in a more gentle way and would then go into the ground and refill our aquifers. Now that we've got climate change with these much more intense bursts of rain, they sweep through the system like a bolt, and we don't get to capture the water in the way that we would have done in the past.
Okay, so that calls for collaboration, perhaps in Britain, perhaps in Europe. But what about global collaboration? Is there enough global collaboration to help countries with very arid climates?
So there can always be better collaboration. There are a variety of schemes. The World Water Innovation Fund, for example, involves a dozen or so utilities from Latin America to Australia to Europe to North America, working together to share their learnings and their experiences. There's always more that can be done, clearly. And actually, the real help that needs to come is from utilities in high-income countries sharing their learning and experiences with utilities in the low and medium-income countries. Because that's where there's often this skill set that doesn't exist. Leakage is a great example of where learning could be better.
Dr. Piers Clark, many thanks to you for joining us on The Agenda.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.